Kyle Rittenhouse, remember him? He had the not guilty for the death of one of the persons that was demonstrating a while back, one of our big cases here at the Law and Crime Network last year. Well, he said this case has inspired him, and he may start suing people, maybe media outlets, for defamation for how they treated him before he had the not guilty verdict. What are your thoughts?
It's interesting because when people talk about setback and this setting us back, I don't think they had Kyle Rittenhouse in mind. They were really more focused on victims of domestic violence. And I'm hoping that this will not be a setback for people or victims who are telling the truth, who are truly victimized. But again, I mean, he's definitely not the person that would have come to mind. And I'm sure he's not a Johnny Depp, so he's not going to be in the same position as Johnny Depp or have the same kind of team.
And Adam Waldman, of course, is Johnny Depp's personal attorney, and you saw his testimony during the trial via video deposition. And Adam Waldman, had spoken to the Daily Mail back in 2020 in defense of Johnny Depp, calling these abuse allegations a hoax. And so Adam Waldman, let's put that up on the screen, if you guys don't mind, if you can get that up there. So Adam Waldman puts this on Instagram today, and he's basically, the front cover of that says Johnny Depp's fake news. And the reason this is important is because Adam Waldman is basically calling out what mainstream media. And he says that basically the only people who really got it right in this case and who tried to give Johnny Depp a fair shake were internet journalists.
The social media thing does concern me. The idea that, for example, I came on a show and said that I thought that the Amber Heard's team did a good job on summation. I was eviscerated for having that feeling. Social media, I understand everyone has an opinion about everything that happens, but it's also important to be objective. And so, calling Amber turd, things like that, to me, it doesn't get us where we need to be in terms of having an intellectual, intelligent conversation about the lack of credibility of a witness. I think we can do that without name calling.
What will be the direct outcome of this trial? Do you think it'll cause a spike in the Me Too movement? You heard Anjanette say this has a profound effect. It's not just about celebrities. So what do you think is it going to have a spike in the Me Too movement? What do you think the overall effect is going to be?
I agree with Anjanette, and this is a very consequential case in the Me Too movement and the whole premise of domestic violence. It shows that you don't have to be a woman to be abused, that men get abused too. It puts all abuse victims on notice that there is a bar that you have to uphold to, especially if you're going after prosecution. So if anything, instead of being something negative, it certainly prepares people for prosecution. And there are victims out there. So there are victims out there, and it helps the Me Too movement, in my opinion. It doesn't hurt it. As long as you're not lying, you still have rights.
Have any of the jurors come forward yet? If not, when do you think any will?
Okay, so not yet that we know of, but of course, Jesse, we would love to speak with them. I'm here in Virginia still, so jurors, we would love to hear from you. We can speak with you anonymously. We can guard your identity. We can do all kinds of things, so please reach out to us if you would like to speak with us. We would love to hear how you reached your verdict, and so we're extending that invitation right here on Law and Crime. So we haven't yet, but we hope to.
Was she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
In closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you if she did not get a favorable verdict. What message do you think this sends?
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means.
She needs to respect the process, trust what the jury came to, even if she didn't like it. She needs to stop hating, be a little more professional, and maybe next time prepare her client in a more believable way instead of bringing on someone who's claiming injuries that don't match at all what her testimony is, and work on her hearsay objections.
She actually works for a private law firm, and I think she has an incredibly bright future ahead of her. I wouldn't be surprised if after this trial, she starts her own law firm, because I think many celebrities, all of Johnny Depp's friends, anyone who saw this high-profile trial and saw her excellent performance, which really helped him cinch this really great victory, is going to want her as their attorney.
This verdict does not make it difficult for any other true victims of domestic violence. And I say that because each case obviously is analyzed based on the facts and circumstances and evidence presented during trial. In this case, I don't agree with her statement that she released on social media that this is a setback for women and that her voice was not heard. And she compared the UK criminal justice system to here in the United States. We know that that's very different. She had the opportunity to have a jury of her peers hear all the evidence. And in this case, it was the quantity of the evidence and not the quality that was on her end, because she referenced a mountain of evidence. Yeah, you had a mountain of evidence, but was it sufficient? Was the quality sufficient? And also, was it credible? And I just don't believe it was.
Were you surprised by this portion of the verdict, all in favor of Johnny Depp?
I wasn't surprised. This verdict is a complete repudiation of all of Amber Heard's allegations for both domestic violence and sexual abuse. Again, it's not to say that it didn't happen, but we are in a court of law, and she failed to prove those things happened with unbiased, corroborated evidence, and she missed the mark, and it cost her her case.
My experience waiting in line for the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial. My first week is the simplest by far. I arrive between 2 and 3 a.m. to people already lined up against the courthouse wall. It's baffling the sheer number of people that are here that'll only continue to grow as we get closer to 7 a.m. when the wristbands are officially given out. For the most part, everyone seems calm, cool, and excited to get inside. My second week was even earlier. I began arriving between 11:30 and 12 a.m. In an attempt to deter people from staying all night, a sign was put up saying no one could congregate against the courthouse wall prior to 1 a.m. Instead of being deterred, people adjusted. Lines started forming in parking garages and unofficial number systems were being created. Tensions were definitely building. By the week of closing arguments, all order has been abandoned for chaos.
Disappointed, confused, but not surprised, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you're confused why?
I feel like it doesn't really make sense in terms of just the defamation part and how it's affected their work life. With Amber, I feel like she didn't really have much outside of Aquaman that is really like a big thing for her. And we've heard how much her part has been pared back. Compared with Depp, he had already kind of been on the downfall of his career because of his drinking and drugs. So I don't think that her op-ed specifically was what affected him.
I think it's good because it showed that the jury found that he did not do the things that she said. The money, he wasn't going for the money. So I'm all right with the money. It just found that she didn't have any clout in what she was trying to say.
Were you surprised that they found for him on every question?
Absolutely not.
The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. She goes on to say, I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that he won in the UK. I'm sad I lost this case, but I am sadder still that I seem to have lost a right that I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly.